Hey, my name is Greg Hintermeister, and I work in the Cloud Engagement Hub at IBM, and one of our big goals is to help clients in their cloud journey. And one of the best ways for us to do that is to focus on key outcomes. And so in this series of demonstrations over the next several sessions, I'm going to focus on three major outcomes that we're helping our clients deliver, and in particular, delivering it through something we just released called IBM Cloud Satellite. And so the three outcomes are how do we help clients build, deliver, and manage applications across a hybrid multi-cloud environment? And how do they bring the best of cloud and run it wherever they need it, so that those applications can run even on premises or in locations, manufacturing floors that need to be in proximity to data and so on, but they still want the ease of as a service that they would get in a cloud environment. And if you could have that, where you're managing applications across it all and having as a service, cloud capabilities on premises in these various locations, clients want a common control plane to help manage those environments. Not just the applications, but the platform and the security. And so those are the three major outcomes we're going to be focusing on. And to do that, there's a number of demonstrations I'll be doing over the next several sessions. But it's really to identify how we can deliver those outcomes using this IBM Cloud Satellite capability that enables this sort of comprehensive approach to deliver those outcomes. So part of the demos today are going to be introducing Cloud Satellite. There'll be a little conceptual content and then live demo. Skip to the live if you already know the concepts. Where I'll be creating the locations and creating the clusters. And then I'll be introducing applications and how we can deploy applications centrally across that distributed cloud environment. We'll also be using satellite link endpoints, where it's a way to extend the reach of these remote locations. So for example, I could have an AWS location and extend the reach into an S3 bucket, or many other scenarios. Then in a future episode, we'll be talking about how IBM Cloud Satellite and Red Hat Advanced Cluster Management really pairs well together to deliver this seamless control plane across anywhere you want to run Openshift and your Kubernetes environments. We'll look at centralized observability and then some centralized security and compliance. So really excited. Let's get to the first one. So the first thing to do is kind of introduce Cloud Satellite, and I'll do it as we set up this first demo. So IBM Cloud delivers Openshift with thousands of clusters. We deliver over 190 different cloud managed services, and we do that through high automation with highly skilled SRE teams to manage those instances worldwide. And there's thousands of instances running all the time, being managed, being updated. And we do have a variety of locations that you could choose from, VPCs and classic environments and so on. But what we want to do is provide that those same teams the ability to deploy those services anywhere the customer wants them. And so in this environment, we're going to be taking an AWS location, but it could be on-prem, it could be manufacturing, it could be anywhere else. And what we're going to do is create instances. And we have some on our team that create instances in their house, but it's really AWS, Azure, Google Cloud, all of it. But we're going to take these instances and then pair it with IBM Cloud Satellite, so Satellite can create a control plane in that remote location. And what that does is it then introduces all of our IBM Cloud services to that location as a potential target. So what you'll see is I'll be going into the Openshift catalog, and you're going to be able to, so I'll click, I want myself an Openshift cluster. And because I have this satellite location, it appears I can grab additional instances and create an Openshift cluster. And in the environment, you're also going to see I've got a second one. And then what you'll see over a period of time is data services and AI services where you can go into the cloud catalog, select I want myself a data service, and then deploy it into those remote locations. Now, as a part of practice, I also am going to show these what I call standby compute, where it allows us to grab VMs really quickly and apply them to either new instances, new services, or to add capacity to current ones. And then, of course, you can replicate that any other location. So hopefully by the end you'll see get a real sense of how IBM Cloud Satellite can help this. All right, let's get started. So I'm in my IBM Cloud environment, and the first thing you might want to do is create a location. And I'll actually use these for real life, but let's just pretend we're creating a location. And again, the scenario is I want to deploy my applications and manage them, but the applications have to be in proximity to really sensitive data. But jeepers, I really don't want to manage a Kubernetes environment. Okay, so now I can either I can actually do a shortcut now, so I can go to Amazon, AWS, enter my keys, and the create a satellite location will actually push out and provision the infrastructure required, so it saves a ton of time. But just for completeness, I'm going to show how you can set it up anywhere. We're just going to give it a name, Greg, location 3. And you can tag it however you want, give it a description. You can choose where to manage from. Of course, this list is going to grow over time. Right now, I'm going to manage it from Washington, D.C. I can also label my zones. And so even though the cloud satellite locations are in a potentially an on-premises location or wherever, we still want to manage, set up the location in a resilient manner. And so since 3 is the magic number, we at least like to have 3 zones available for these locations, and you choose what those zones mean. And so we have people that have in their own rooms they'll have 3 machines, and that's each zone. And in a real environment you might have 3 data center floors or 3 data centers that actually would qualify as availability zones. It's really whatever you choose. We want this redundancy built in. Okay, so it's really that simple, and I'm going to create the location, and it'll do some thinking and so on. So once that location's created, I want to actually think about how do I fill it up, because this is just a kind of a reference. And so I'm going to go back to my locations, and I'm going to use AWS for now, and you'll notice that I've got a lot of hosts. But let's show the process of how that works. In the getting started for the locations, I need to attach hosts. And then to do that, I want to generate a script that will be placed on the hosts to call back home. So I should go back, if I go back to the to the graphic here, once I create the VMs, I need to have a script available to then call back, create this secure satellite link, and so we can actually set up the control plane. And then once that is done, then I can go deploy Openshift through IBM Cloud and target that location. And so to do that, I've got this generate script. Now of course, everything's pre-done. So I had previously clicked generate script, and I put it in here, and now I have it ready to use. The next step is to go to my AWS account, and you'll see okay, here's all the compute that I've got in AWS, Here's all the hosts, and you'll see it's an even match. And now I want to just add more. So let's just go into launch templates. I'm going to filter the one that I have. And when I created this launch template, I'll go to the details here. Let's just add 3 more compute nodes. But this could be the very first time, so don't worry about it. The IBM Cloud docs have all kinds of detail on what you need to run. So I've got rel 7 here. I've chosen a 4x16. I don't think you should use less than that, but in production I'd probably use an 8x32. But we can talk about capacity for for your Kubernetes nodes later. So other things, I've set up a VPC on my own. Well, maybe I'll talk about some other day. Got some tagging going on. I have my network things. The interesting thing to notice is in the advanced details, I actually have pasted the script that Cloud Satellite gave me. And again, what this does is it takes the instructions on how to once I provision the VM, the instructions on how to call back home. So once I launch the instances using that template, then it's off and running, and I can go back to my instances, and I forgot about that, so I'm going to filter, refresh so it actually shows up. And now I've got 3 that are initializing, and they're going to come back. So later, in a little bit, we'll show them showing up here. And that's really all there is to do. But of course, if this is the kind of a hybrid cloud mesh, it's okay, cute. I've got this little location. So what? Well, now I can go into the cloud catalog for IBM Cloud, and I can look at all the services that I can deploy across IBM Cloud, and then I can start filtering based on which ones are satellite enabled. And if I click that one, we've got one right now, but more coming, obviously. And so if I select I want to create an Openshift cluster, you might see this is very familiar. I've got my choices. Use 4.6 if you can, and a couple options. But this is the main one I want to look at, where we have many clusters running on VPCs in IBM Cloud. If you want to run it on bare metal for performance or your certain workloads, that's great. But now I can choose to run it on Cloud Satellite. And what I really like about this is we could have some really smart guys and gals running the distributed cloud. How am I going to set up AWS, Azure, my manufacturing? How am I going to set up my on-premises environment? What sort of machines do I need? Maybe they're VMs, maybe it's bare metal. I mean, it's a solid decision set to make. But if I'm even a developer, or if I lead a development team or whatever, I can just go into Cloud Satellite, into IBM Cloud, pick Cloud Satellite, choose the resource group so I can control access to that cluster, and choose which one I'm going to. And so I've got some extra ones here, so I'm going to choose a dedicated IaaS environment here. Just for demo purposes, I'm going to dumb it down to one zone. But of course, look at this. You can deploy it across all your zones, however you've set up those zones. And now I'm just going to use one worker node, but certainly you would want more than that. And what you'll see, when I talked about that standby compute, here's one of the values of it, so that I can, let me actually go to, I chose VPC DC. Let me show that location. I've got my location, and here's all the hosts. And because I have some standby compute that has been unassigned, this lets the services pull in without adding, without bothering the people that are going to manage the location. this lets me activate and assign these extra machines to the service that needs it. And so in this case, I'm saying I want to deploy to this location, and I want one worker node of this type, and lucky me, not coincidence, I've got 4x16s available. Now, later on we'll talk about satellite config, but yes, if, of course, your choice, I like the extra capability it provides. And so if I create this, and I call it Greg Demo 3, then I'm just going to create it. And the ability for the cloud service to treat a remote location as just another target just completely frees up how what you're managing, because now and I'll go back to all my clusters to show it. I could go into my my AWS cluster, for example, and open the UI and manage it just like I would, and it's so fast. I mean, it's so easy to use that I might just be a developer and I want a 3-node cluster for for a 3-week project, and all of a sudden I want to add an application, and I can just do it. I don't need to wait 3 weeks for a set of VMs, but I'm also assured that this is running in the location that I need it, and that's just it's just incredibly freeing for teams that are focused on delivering this innovation, but being constrained by the the very real governance needs to run it in the locations that are needed. And so I hear, okay, so Greg Demo 3. So I've already got here's my location. It's already chosen a VM for me, and it's provisioning. And if I go back to my clusters, and we got Greg Demo 3 running, or being provisioned, and I can look at my worker nodes. Yep, it's all there. Now, what's really cool, for me then, is to say, okay, if I'm in this satellite location, and then later on I need more, I'm going to pick this, an unassigned, and if I just want to do it manually, I can say assign host. Maybe the control plane, needs more capacity, or I can choose to add more. No, that's a dumb example. I can choose a cluster once it's all ready, and just deploy it. And I can assign the host, and then the Openshift cluster just grows, or can shrink depending on the needs. So I guess that's in a nutshell. That's what IBM Cloud Satellite will bring. I can get these locations around the world in spots that really need it, so that my application can run, and I can set them up. I can go to my environment, like my AWS cluster, and there looks like it's all ready. Let me just refresh that to show that they're ready. And actually, let's since we're here, let's go to this Greg location, and it looks like it's still. Oh no, I put it in the AWS location. I got my hosts, and yeah, see, so I got my unassigned hosts all ready to go. So again, I can, it's once this is set up, this gets to be very very fun, because I can pick and choose where my capacity is. I can throw applications where I need. I can centrally monitor and manage all of it. But a lot of that is for the next time. So I guess in the end, with all of the Cloud Satellite capability, I can now look at my Openshift clusters, filter on location, and in one view have all of my, here's my West Coast, my dedicated West Coast satellite location. You can tell by satellite. I have my IBM Cloud VPC Gen 2 clusters. I have some classic on bare metal that I might want. Yet it is all available in one view. And even better, if I go into a cloud satellite environment, it has the same update capability. So here's my AWS one. I could update the Openshift version. Now, if there's a more urgent need, IBM Cloud can help me do that and will inform me that it needs updating. But I'm still in control of when it happens. And so if I click update version, I'm not going to do it. But I can choose, okay, I want to go to 4.6, and then I can click update. The IBM Cloud automation does all the rest. And then when this is done, I go and update the worker nodes. And so it's a very, very painless process. And if you're at all familiar with what it takes to manage your own Kubernetes environment, to me, this completely saves just an incredible amount of time, so you can really focus on the innovation. Okay, so I think we went through what we wanted to show. We deployed VMs. We connected to those VMs to IBM Cloud Satellite control plane into a location, and we deployed Openshift into that location. And of course, over time, there's going to be many, many more services that are available. And that's it. So I appreciate your time, and I look forward to the next one. Thanks a lot.